There's a lot of people out there with parents who are overly anxious. And when we have parents that are overly anxious, a lot of times what those parents will do is they will project that anxiety onto their children. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. And again, parents who are overly anxious, and they may not necessarily mean to, and they may not necessarily be aware of this. They may lack that self-awareness to know exactly what's happening, but they have that anxiety and they project it onto their children. And I mean, I've seen this even in little kids, where little kids are overly anxious. It's not normal. It's not healthy for a small child to be overly anxious all the time. And vice versa, even for an adult child. And so a lot of times you got to be careful, and you got to have boundaries around your parents, especially as an adult. You have to have boundaries around the anxiety that your parent projects onto you as an adult. Otherwise, what you'll end up doing is you'll end up living in their shadow and their fears. You now inherit their fears. Those fears become your fears, and you are living your life in a very, very small box because someone has told you that this is a big, bad, scary thing and you should be fearful all the time. And therefore, when you're fearful, you should just not do anything. You should stay small. And so this happens a lot. So a good example of this would be, if you're a child, or if you are an adult child, rather, and you decide that you want to spread your wings and fly and leave your hometown. And a lot of you do the thing that people do, and you tell your parents, "Hey, I'm thinking about moving to, I don't know, some other state and city. I'm going to spread my wings and try to fly." And the first thing they do is say, "Oh my God, no, I don't think you should do it. You don't know what's out there. It's dangerous to be out there by yourself, all this other kind of stuff, right? Don't do it." Right. And if you listen to that, you'll never take chances. You'll never take a risk. And your life is meant to be, you're meant to take risks. You're meant to take chances. And so you have to be careful and manage that and say, that's their story. That's their anxiety story, but their anxiety story is not my story. I haven't had a chance to move. I haven't had a chance to move yet. Therefore, I don't know what could happen. It could be the best decision of my life. It could be a okay decision. It could be whatever, but I need to take that chance and experience it for myself. My experiences aren't going to be my mom's experiences. It's not going to be my father's experiences. They're going to be mine. I can listen to what they say, and I can always take what they say and be cautious as a result of that. Like, I can take my time and really think through things, but it should not limit me from living my life. And so there can be that balance where you have to say, "You know what, Mom, you know what, Dad, I understand your concerns. I'm listening. I hear you, but this is something I really want to try for myself." And you're doing it again. You're projecting that anxiety onto me again. So let's just take a step back. And and parents have anxiety for different reasons. Sometimes it's for their life experiences. Sometimes it's because they're a helicopter parent. Sometimes it's because they're not necessarily a helicopter parent, but they don't want to let you go. And they may be very enmeshed, but they don't necessarily see you as an adult, and or maybe they've experienced some things in their life, and they want to try to prevent that for you as much as possible. It doesn't always necessarily have to be coming from a bad place or anything like that. And like I said, sometimes people lack the awareness, but it is your job to try to contain that so that you can be able to function in a relationship. Sometimes it shows up in friendships too, in other areas too, work relationships, things like that, where people try to tell you not to take a chance, but always, try to take a chance if you feel like it's going to improve your life. And you'll know if the anxiety that your parent has is a problem if you start to take on their symptoms. So if you start having panic and things like that, and but also too, if it starts to feel heavy or cumbersome to even be in the room with your parent or have a conversation with your parent, when you start to take on that energy and it's like difficult for you to even want to like spend time with or engage in a conversation with that person. So you want to be careful with that. And there's also something that parents need to be more cognizant of and be more aware. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm not saying that they're right. I'm just saying that it tends to happen and it can really shrink your child and make children feel small. So let me know what you guys think. Like, share, and follow. And definitely comment down below. And definitely subscribe to my newsletter for upcoming group coaching slots. Thanks so much. Bye bye.